Hey everyone, today we're going to be working through our first exploration, exploration 1, on our cells unit. You can see up there this is our first lesson in our cells unit, and lesson 1 is called the characteristics of cells. There's a nice picture of a human brain right here, actually one cell out of a human brain. That's called a neuron, as you can see in the little description in the picture down below. And right below that picture, it gives a little description of what you should be learning in this lesson. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain how living things are built of tiny structures called cells. As we work our way through this, feel free to pause at any time that you need to so that you can get things written in. If you do have questions as we're going through this, maybe write them down in the margins or write them down someplace so you can be sure to have those to ask me in class, or as always, feel free to email those questions to me as well, and we can go through those and make sure we're all on the same page here. The first little part, and you didn't have to do these first two questions, but it just gives this little picture. It says, can you explain it, in a couple questions. It says, record your observations of the magnified image and the onion. So if I take a look over here at this little magnified image, I could say some things about that, like the image. As I look at that, it kind of looks like little bricks or little boxes to me. I could say I see dots on the inside of it, and I could say there's kind of like red lines, kind of looks like a little green in there. Okay, just some basic observations that we have from that picture. When we look over at the onion, I can make some similar observations. It looks like slices. I see colors. I see yellow, I see red, I see white, and I see rings. Okay, little concentric rings there within our onion. Okay, and then number 2 says, what do you think is needed in order to observe these tiny structures? Well, you guys are probably fairly well aware of what is actually needed there to observe that. And you could say something, if I get my text box to work, you could say something like you need a microscope. And we'll talk about some different types of microscopes as we do go through this. Typically the ones that you will be using are called light microscopes. Some of them just use a mirror on the bottom, some of them have their own light source on the bottom, but basically a light microscope is what you'll use most of the time until you get way high up in some of your biology or research lab situations, if you go that way for a future career. Okay, so moving on down here, it talks about living things being made up of cells. And again, that's one of the parts of the cell theory. Remember, when we use the word theory in science, it does not mean that it's a guess. A theory is very well tested, lots and lots of evidence for it. It's kind of the big explanation that we have in science. So all living things are made of cells. Another word for a living thing is that highlighted word right there, organism. That's just anything that's alive. And then a cell here defines it as the smallest unit that can be said to be alive. And we'll talk a bunch about cells over this next unit here. Okay, question number 3 here says, what can you see when you look at this plant with your unaided eye? Well, if I were to take a look at that plant, things that I can see there, I can see that it's green. I can see water droplets. It has leaves. Okay, so several things there about the plant as I look at it. And then as I look at those little magnified areas, again, if I look at this one, and even when I look at the bigger one over here, I can see like some little boxes, little bricks. The top one kind of looks like a brick wall. I see some green dots. That's probably pretty good. There's a little bit of maybe space in there as well. Okay, so I've got this area where I don't see very many things in it. Okay? And as we keep moving forward here, we just see a couple pictures of some magnified objects. We've got a paramecium, we've got the eye of a shrimp, and then we've got the tip of a regular pencil like you'd be using in class. Okay, and the question down there says, how do these objects differ from each other? The big thing to take a look at here is just how their bodies are set up. Okay, so like our paramecium up there at the top, that thing is made of one cell. Okay, the shrimp eye and the shrimp itself, we can definitely say would be made of many cells. And again, we'll look more in detail at cells as we move forward. That pencil down there, you know, when it was just like the wood in a tree, I think you could have said that it would be made up of many cells. But now that it's been broken down and processed and, you know, shaped into that pencil, I would probably say that it has no cells. And basically that's because it's been processed and broken down into a way that the cells just wouldn't have any structure anymore. Okay? Alright, next little part that we have here, the paramecium, it says, is an example of a living or a non-living thing. Well, that's going to be a living thing. Let's see, the shrimp is an example of a living or non-living. Yeah, shrimp's going to be a living thing as well. The pencil is an example of a non-living thing. Okay, paramecium and the shrimp do or do not contain cells. Okay, those do contain cells, but then the pencil, again, since it's been processed, I would say that that pencil does not contain cells. Okay. Evidence notebook question that we have down here, it says, is the onion shown at the beginning of the lesson an example of a living or non-living thing? The main thing that we have been able to see so far, that we've been kind of focusing on so far here in this little lesson, is that it is made up of cells. Okay, so our little onion is definitely a living thing. It is made up of cells, and living things are made up of cells as well. Alright, moving forward. Our next statement, next part of the cell theory, is that cells are the building blocks of life. So basically every living thing, if you look at the way it's put together, it's going to be made up of cells. Okay, got two little definitions right here: unicellular organism, multicellular organism. Uni, the prefix there, uni means one. Okay, so one-celled organism. Multi means many-celled organism. Okay, the next part of this little number 7 question here says, label each photo as a unicellular organism, a multicellular organism, or as a non-living object. Okay, it says record your evidence. Basically, I'm just going to give you the terms that you should have in here. Okay, so this first one, it says glucose is a simple sugar made by plants during photosynthesis, excuse me, easy for me to say, right? Glucose is going to be non-living. The main reason that it's non-living, if you look in the picture there, you can see that it forms crystals. Crystals, the formation of crystals, that's a chemical situation. You don't see living things that clump together into crystals. Okay. The next one that we have down here, what is this? A salt gland on a crocodile's tongue. Well, probably without knowing too much about what's going on inside the mouth of a crocodile, you can probably come up with a crocodile being a multicellular organism. And then finally, as we keep moving down, we have our desmids here, which are a type of algae. And it even says right here, the single cell is often divided into two symmetrical halves, but it is a single cell. So that would make this, oops, I mess up all my formatting. That would make it a unicellular organism. Okay, one cell. Okay, so non-living, multicellular, and unicellular there for number 7. Next part of our cell theory, you can see written up here at the top, is that all cells come from existing cells. There are a whole bunch of experiments done about this, about trying to prove if cells just kind of spontaneously burst into existence or if they have to come from something else. And what we figured out is that to get more cells, you have to have an original cell that you start off with. So what we see right here in our picture is that in our left picture, we really, and it's I don't know, it's a little bit weird the way that they have the picture set up here in the book, but what that is showing you, the left is one cell that is dividing. Okay, you can still see that the cytoplasm is connected in this cell right here. It's starting to pinch in, okay, but that is still one parent cell. On the right, you have two cells. So cell division has completed there, okay, and we have two separate cells. So these two cells came from the one existing cell. All right, finally moving down here to the parts of a theory. It just says to summarize the parts of a theory, and really guys, it's just these statements that we have right here are the 3 parts of a cell theory, and I just want you to rewrite those in your own words down here for number 9. But just looking at the 3 parts, make sure you know these, okay? All living organisms are composed of one or more cell. So every single living thing is made up of one or more cells, single-celled or multicellular. Cells are the building blocks of life, the second part of the cell theory, which states that, you know, every living thing, what it's made out of, kind of those building blocks, those bricks that we were kind of seeing in those pictures, those are cells. And then finally, all cells come only from existing cells. The way I learned this, they always said pre-existing. So all cells come from pre-existing cells. You do not have cells that just spontaneously pop up out of nowhere. So those 3 statements, that is the cell theory. That's the big overall statement that tells us about what's going on with cells. It helps us to explain the cells that we find in our world, and it helps us give a big explanation for part of what's going on with living things. Once again, any questions that you guys have, make sure that you bring those to class or to office hours, and emails are great, and there we go. We'll call that good for Exploration 1.